Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and today we're going to go over all the WWE title reigns over the years. Some people still have them, other people barely have them, but we're going to go and talk about pretty much everything and yeah, rate it from S to D. Obviously, S tier being the best, D being the worst, but let's just jump into it. So we start off with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He finally finished his story and he held on to his title all the way until WrestleMania of this year. So, I mean, he had it pretty much the majority of or he did have it the entire year before that, and like this year pretty much had it a lot of times. Obviously John Cena beat him, so there was what 3-4 months between that. It really didn't feel like a long time for Cena to have it, but yeah, I think Cody Rhodes' first title reign just kind of suffered from a problem of just being where we kind of thought The Rock was always coming back, and we kind of had other stuff. And until that happened, it just kind of felt like he never really got his footing. I think his feud with Kevin Owens was probably the best out of all of those. I think put in a solid B. It was entertaining to me. I definitely think there was better stuff out there, but I wasn't necessarily disappointed. Then we get Liv Morgan. Technically speaking, because I think we're just kind of like talking about it from like the 2025 part. She barely had it because she lost it on that first Netflix show. Before that, I would say it was an okay reign. Again, it kind of felt like she was just kind of there holding it for Rhea. Like they really didn't give her the time of day to really build that storyline around it because they always felt like, well, Rhea's coming back, so that's who she's going to be feuding with. I probably put it in C because if we really talk about just like she lost it so early, I want to just kind of put at least a little bit of like last year and talk about it, like or 2024, because it's like I feel like with that bit it makes it better. But yeah, if we just talk about this, it would definitely be in D tier. Then we have Nia Jax's title reign. It was sadly just kind of like just forgettable. Like the problem with I think the WWE Women's title lately, it's had three different people in the last year, and I feel like all of it's just kind of been like, okay, it's there. I really only have the notable feud of Tiffany versus Charlotte Flair that really say that that title's been in the forefront. The other title has been a lot better, which it's still not like been out there as much as it should be, but this title I feel like definitely was pretty bad. I'd put it in C. It was there. Then we have Gunther's first heavyweight title reign of the year, obviously losing it to Jey Uso at WrestleMania. I honestly didn't, you know, hate it. I just felt like again that title coming off of when it was Seth Rollins to even Damian Priest to like those runs, like they defended it quite a bit, but it felt like Gunther got this title and he just kind of coasted to WrestleMania. So another title run that I just thought was very just under dramatic. I don't even know what to say. It's like you can't think of stuff that like made this title run like legendary, or you can even just think about some of the opponents that he had. Like none of the feuds really just were like the best. The best thing he had was Jey Uso, and it just kind of just him losing to Jey Uso, you know, didn't end up being the call for either one of them. Then we get to the tag team titles. Bianca and Naomi. Originally it was Bianca and Jade Cargill. This had like a really hot storyline that would have just really been amazing if they could have just timed it correctly with the injuries and stuff. Because I think with Jade coming back at Elimination Chamber, and then like obviously Jade and Naomi had some you know beef for that first part. But I feel like with Bianca getting hurt at WrestleMania, they never got the wrap back to this. I really think that it would have been what we really everybody would have loved to see, especially with Naomi eventually getting the title at cashing it in and doing all that type of stuff. That would have been the chef's kiss this entire storyline. I do think like the title reign was pretty decent. They had some decent defenses. They defended it on NXT. They defended it on TV. I think overall, I think the run was good. I think it could have been like a generational run if we would have got that payoff that I think they were building for. Then we got talk about Braun Breaker's IC title reign. I think this is his second title reign, but it was the only one that was in this year. I think he carried it off of Jey Uso going to then drop it to Dom. I'm pretty sure it was the lineage of this time. It gets kind of confusing when it's been a year ago sometimes. I don't think he really did much with that second title run. I mean, obviously he lost it to Dom at WrestleMania. It was a big moment for Dom and stuff, but I really felt like Braun Breaker didn't get much. I mean, obviously the even with like Braun Breaker's first run, it kind of felt overshadowed because he had such a big babyface and Jey Uso chasing after him that he just never really got that like crazy fame. He did have some good matches in that first run, but the second run it was less than stellar. I'd put it down in D. Then we got Shinsuke Nakamura's U.S. title run. Absolutely amazing that he won the title against Sami, well, not Sami Zayn, that LA Knight, and it was just a shocking moment because he had just came back. We hadn't seen him in forever, and then they didn't do anything with him. I know he had some outside stuff, and they were using him in Japan, but it felt like he had like I think that he had this title for like triple digit days, and it just wasn't it. So I'm gonna have to put it D in sadly because I really thought this would be great. DIY's tag team run. Um, I feel like the tag team titles on SmackDown were just kind of these solid tag team, like just fun matches until the Wyatt Sick got it. So that would be my only thing with this. Like, I just felt like they were kind of like doing different stuff week to week, all the different SmackDown tag teams, and I enjoyed it. I don't think the run was anything super crazy. I think I'd put it in a solid C. No, I feel like it's a. I'm gonna put this in B, and I'm gonna move actually the women's tag team titles up because at least I think there was just more defenses and more story coming from that. DIY, I wouldn't say anything bad. It just like I said, they were just kind of rotating them at that time, and I was enjoying it. I thought a lot of tag teams got a lot of different storyline and highlights and stuff, and this was another one that really worked for them. Then we go with Chelsea Green winning the U.S. title. This is her first run. Um, I was really pumped for her to win it. I thought with her character work and all that, but they really never booked it. It was kind of the problem with the two mid card titles when they first brought them in. There just wasn't a lot of booking. So I think I'm just gonna have to put this in C also. Next up, we have the Viking Raiders. Or the War Raiders. They had so much good like matches and stuff like that that I thought with them having the tag team titles on them, they were gonna get that type of booking for the titles, but it never really was. It was just Judgment Day. I think they had one match against the Creeds that they either won by disqualification, I think, and then they had like a rematch with them. It just really wasn't it. Obviously, they ended up losing the tag team titles to the New Day at WrestleMania. Even then, we thought that could like propel the New Day to like being something crazy, but that didn't work. So I think overall, I'm just kind of disappointed about this title reign. I'll put it in C because I did think the matches weren't the worst, but again, wasn't super happy. Then we had Tiffany Stratton's long title reign. It just really like I really wish we had some other people. She had a match against Tiffany Stratton, tons against Nia Jax, obviously Jade Cargill, and then she had the big one against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. So she had matches and she did defend the title. So I would say I liked that part of the thing. I just wish there was like some variety in it, a little spice of life, a little bit of different stuff that could change. I just thought it ended up making it for like just kind of being a boring championship. Like she held the title and she was undefeated majority of this year, and it just didn't feel like it was worth whatever time and push they were trying to do. I think she didn't really look much better after the title reign to where she looked like when she was starting with that. The Miss Money in the Bank I think worked great, and it was a great thing that she cashed in on Nia Jax, at the start of the year, but other than that cash in, I think that's the most memorable part of it. So I'll put it in B. I still liked it. I just think it could have been better. Then we had Rhea Ripley. She won this title off of Liv Morgan at the Netflix debut. Honestly, I thought it was like a good decision to put the title on Rhea, but just it should have been sooner than this. It should have been at like their second match, I think, that they had together. It just felt like it took a little too long, and then once we got it, it was just kind of lackluster. Rhea's reign really wasn't great because she just kind of had the title, and then she dropped it in a stunning drop to Io Sky, which that part was really great storytelling because it was like it felt very out of the blue, and it felt so crazy that happened because sometimes we don't get that. We don't get those random things on a TV show program, and we did, and I was kind of happy about that. But other than that, the reign just it was just there. So I'll put it down in D. Lyra Valkyrie's Intercontinental title run is probably one of the best title runs this year. It started off at like a slow pace, and obviously no like WrestleMania match for her. She rarely ever was seen even on Raw, but then she got into that feud with Becky Lynch after WrestleMania, and that feud was one of the best feuds that we had the entire summer. And yeah, I'll put this up in A. I do feel like it petered out at the end because of like the speculations and stuff, and I really thought that like her going dropping the title to Becky was going to be a bigger thing for the title in general. But I really felt like that ended up, when we'll talk about it when we get to it, was a little off too. Then we had the tag team champs, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, taking it off of Naomi and Bianca Belair. I was trying to remember what happened. It was an interesting call. I mean, obviously they've won these tag team titles quite a bit. This title reign in particular wasn't that great because it really didn't last long and it really didn't have much of anything that came from it. It was just basically they got the title back, they get their WrestleMania moment, and then they drop the titles to a makeshift tag team. So it just kind of felt almost disrespectful compared to some of the other title runs where they actually looked pretty dominant as a tag team. So I'll put it down in D. Then we go to Io Skies. This one's kind of a little bit confusing to rank because she won the title just kind of all of a sudden off of Rhea Ripley. That was an amazing red hot fade. She really didn't get a chance to defend it or do much with it until she got to WrestleMania to basically have the match of the year with Bianca and Rhea Ripley, to just never getting booked with the title after that until she, pretty much lost it to, what was it, Naomi's cashing in. Like, she was in some of the best matches this year, but it just didn't have like the same translation to what they wanted. She just immediately, somebody wins a title and just gets pulled off the TV, and it makes no sense. They should be in storyline. They should be in there doing stuff. I don't understand why people have been doing this. I'll put it in C. It's kind of sad that this title pretty much had two of the best matches that were evolved around this match, and we just never really got to get that finish with it because it was just like there was nothing in between of that. And that's kind of sucks. LA Knight's U.S. title reign. This was his second one. I do prefer the first one over this. He won it off of Shinsuke Nakamura. It kind of felt like he just snatched it off real quick to get that storyline out of the way and to get Nakamura going so they could get this title to WrestleMania. But again, it just kind of felt like if he was an interim champion, he got, I want to say like maybe one or two defenses. I honestly don't remember it that much, which is good. I guess like good, really, or I would say bad for the title, but good. I don't know. Yeah, bad. I'm gonna put it down and C. Just wasn't that great. Street Profits tag team titles. I think they had some really hell of a matches with these titles. I really don't think they should have ever dropped them, at least not to them. It should have probably been Fraxium. I'll put it up in B. It could be higher. I just wish that like the ending was a little bit better and they let them have that WrestleMania moment of getting it instead of later on. Then we had Jey Uso's heavyweight title run. He won it off of Gunther at WrestleMania and then dropped it on a random Raw. This was just kind of piss poor. I gotta put it down in D. I really don't even like to talk about it because I just think they dropped the whole ball on this so badly. I just think they should let him at least survive to SummerSlam if they were really gonna do him dirty like this. But it just kind of felt like he got pulled out there just to get that little reign and then just go away. Then we go to the New Day tag team titles reign. I really thought the heel day having the titles could have been a really cool and fun idea that we've never seen before. But I'm glad we did never have to see this again because it was just awful. So D tier. Jacob Fatu's U.S. title reign. A little bit short lived, but I think he had some hot feuds. He had that fatal 4-way at Backlash, I think, was really good. He kind of teased of having some matches against Drew McIntyre. Damian Priest, everybody kind of wanted to have him over Cody, which is really good to have that you're about your title, that people are looking at the title that's below the main championship because they think you're the better wrestler. And then obviously dropping the solo, I honestly still think it's a good idea. They were feuding. I thought it worked good. The match where he dropped it was kind of ass, but I think overall, I think this was satisfactory. I'll put it in B. Dirty Dom's Intercontinental title run. He just recently lost it. He had it from WrestleMania all the way into November till he lost it to John Cena. Just saying that makes it sound really good. Honestly, he did a lot of good stuff with this. There was a few times where I think they like had a couple matches where they like canceled. I mean, I know he had the match where he had to cancel against AJ Styles because I think he was hurt. I think that was legitimate, and like had other stuff like that, which could really have made this a perfect run. But I think a solid A is not a bad call. Then we have the tag team titles of Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyrie, won at WrestleMania, dropped the very next night. So obviously D. It was for the story time, but I really feel like they should have let that last a little bit longer. At least give it a week. Next up, John Cena. He obviously turned heel, turned on Cody Rhodes. His title run was just one of those things where it's the vessel to his retirement. I was along for the ride. I think some of those title defenses and stuff wasn't the greatest. Obviously, the R-Truth battle and stuff I could have definitely skipped out on. It wasn't even a title match, which was, I thought, kind of a strange thing. He had the match against, Randy Orton. I thought that was pretty good. And he had a bunch of other good matches after that, but I think a majority of the matches that were good were not on his heel run, which I think is what they were trying to do, so you'd miss him even more to do stuff. But I just think overall, this title run was just kind of mid. I'll put it up in C, which is kind of how the most of the year has been. I mean, obviously you can see with these title runs and all that, it kind of just has been the thing. Then we get to Raquel and Roxanne. It was basically Roxanne taking over for Liv Morgan, who got hurt. Them as tag team titles, champions wasn't anything too crazy. They had some good defenses. They dropped it to a mega team at what was it, Evolution, and I think that was a cool idea. So I feel like honestly it wasn't that bad of a title run. I'm gonna put it up in B. I don't think it was the craziest thing, but when you look at some of these other ones, at least there was some defenses, and I think losing it the way they lost it was also really good. Then we have Zelina Vega's U.S. title run. Just was kind of just one of the worst title runs this year. I don't think I would feel that like saying that like I don't think Zelina Vega is a bad wrestler. I think she wrestled bad during this title run. I think the pressure got to her a little bit, and I'm gonna put this in D. Becky Lynch's IC title run, I even have a whole video on it. I think started off amazing and was great. The matches against Bayley, Lyra, all of that stuff was great. And to just drop it to Maxine just felt awful. I'll still put it in B when it's the context of all of this because I think the first part was just so good that I can forgive the last part of it. Then we get to Gunther's second title reign. He took it off of Jey Uso and then ended up dropping it to being cashed in by, he lost it at SummerSlam to CM Punk. The CM Punk got cashed in on, which isn't here. Yeah, he's here on this one, I think, right? Is this one? Yeah, it's this one. I was about to say, like, I think it's here. But I don't think he did much. Again, it's just I don't know why you get the title and you just immediately just get pulled from doing anything. I'll put this down in D. Julia's U.S. title run is abysmal. Julia's probably one of my favorite wrestlers on the entire roster, at least top 5. And the showing that she's had on the main roster, I don't know. I just can't do that. This is definitely D. She lost the title in less than a minute, and everything about that title run just was not booked and not done correctly. Then we have Solo's title run. Him winning his first title, I think, was a really cool thing. I really thought it was going to be great. I really thought it was going to bring his group up. And I think they just didn't let him do what he needed to do with that. I think they could have really had it where he had that title for a decent chunk of time to really shape the thing. Now, losing to Sami Zayn and then what happens to the title afterwards, I think ends up making up for it. But that's only because we have hindsight. If we just look at his stuff, I'd put him in C. It just wasn't what we needed. Then we get the Judgment Day winning the tag team titles. Another 100-day reign with barely any defenses. I mean, We can easily put that down to D. Then we have the Wyatt Sick winning the tag team titles. I think they also just kind of ruin these tag team titles. They have it and they defend them very rarely. I really wish we would get more of it. I really think they have like the gimmick and the style to really go out there and do stuff. But if they're not defending it as much as everybody else was on SmackDown and having those feuds and doing those things all the time, they just kind of feel like they're just on the cusp of doing something. But then they just have them going after the MFTs now, and I think it just kind of overall kind of sucks for the division in itself, because SmackDown had the most thrived tag team division out there, and having the titles on the Wyatt Sick have been pretty bad. I think I'd probably put it in C because it's still at least a little bit better than any of these Ds. At least they had some defenses and you see them on TV all the time. So a lot of that's better than what we have there at the bottom. Then we get Naomi's title run. I only am going to have to put this on the lower side because we obviously didn't get to see it. It's kind of unfortunate because, I mean, she got pregnant, so I think it's like good for her, but like unfortunate for like just the title reign itself. So I think I'll put this in C. I mean, we still got some iconic moments, obviously the cash in and the match at SummerSlam, but I feel like we probably would have had a way better run if we would have got a full run. Then we have the tag team titles won by Bliss and Flair. I think this was a great idea to put them together. It really helped Flair become like a face, and everything really worked out for it. They had a pretty decent run, good defenses. I think everything about it just kind of felt good. They dropped the title where it felt like it wasn't like they were stale with it. They dropped it at a reasonable time to a team that they were going to try to do something else with. Obviously, it's the Kabuki Warriors, so like it's not a bad drop, but not necessarily where it just feels completely random to like a team that's like makeshift. I think hopefully they hold them together a little bit longer. It looks like they're trying to build this women's tag division to like have something major, to maybe eventually have something big come to WrestleMania with them maybe turning on each other. I honestly think this is an S tier run. I think it does everything, every box that you want to think about it checks. Then we have CM Punk's title reign from SummerSlam. He got the title, then cashed in on. Obviously, it's an iconic moment, but the title reign is the worst of the year, obviously, just because it's the shortest. And then we have Seth Rollins. Honestly, I think this would have been great. I think Seth Rollins still would be heavyweight champion right this moment if he didn't get hurt. Obviously, the fake injury at first to the cash-in was iconic, but then they really didn't let him do much. He had the fatal four-way, and I think he was starting to get that story built up to do other stuff, but then he got hurt. So I'll put it in C. It was definitely nowhere near his iconic first run with that title. That first heavyweight run when he was the inaugural champ was honestly probably one of the best ones that we've had in years. And now we have Cody Rhodes' title reign. It is still currently going. He won this off John Cena at SummerSlam. Cena turned face. He beat Cena, and he's now quarterback one again. And this has just been kind of I mean, we got the Drew McIntyre feud that just seems never ending. I feel like they just kind of dropped the ball by having them go after each other so much, and now we got this stupid speculation if he touches them, he loses the title. It's just, well, how do you make the title hot and heated with that when the other person can't touch the other person? It's just kind of a dumb thing. I'm going to put this down in D for the time being. Hopefully it changes. We probably got some time for it to change, but not feeling it right now. Then we get to Sami Zayn's title run. It was only about 50 days, but he had the open challenge. He completely just defended it every single SmackDown. A phenomenal idea. This is something that they need to hold on to now that we already have a brand new champ, depending on what you've watched on TV and stuff. We won't put too much spoilers in it, but SmackDown's been filmed ahead and stuff has happened. So, it's a skip, so you don't have to hear that when you get to the Dragunov thing. But Sami Zayn's open challenge was phenomenal. Beating Cena right off the bat and all this stuff in between that, I think was all great. This is how you do a title reign. I'm putting up an S tier. And I'm not a big Sami Zayn fan, but that's the only thing I would say is that Sami's wrestling, like he always had to do the comeback, but I still think I would be fine with that. Then we go to Stephanie's current title reign. They've literally let her do nothing and just feud with Nikki Bella. This is D. I do think it's still salvageable, but this feels like an interim champ, and I hate it for Stephanie because she deserves to have that push. Ilya Dragunov, depending on what SmackDown you're on and seen all of his matches, he's done phenomenal with this, coming back from injury, taking it off Sami Zayn. He's had great matches against Nathan Frazier, Axiom, even both members of DIY. This has been great. This is S tier. This open challenge, just keep it going. We got the current tag champs, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. They've been fighting champs. So they've had some decent matches. I've liked this title reign. It's definitely the best tag match title reign we've had on Raw. I'll put it up at A for the time being. Obviously, there could be some stuff to sour it, but because it's not over with, I think it's easy to put her up in A. Jade Cargill's to current title reign, also D. I mean, she's feuding with Meacham and B-Fab. Why? She's a champion. She should be feuding with somebody else that has some name recognition. Then we go to CM Punk's current title reign. He won it off of Jey Uso for the vacancy of Seth Rollins dropping the title. He hasn't really had much to do with this. Again, it's just kind of the storyline, I guess, for right now. He does have a match against Braun Breaker at the start of the year, but until then, it's just been kind of nothing. So I'll put it also in D. Chelsea Green's second title reign. She took it off of Julia in a minute, and just they haven't done anything with this. This title is just consistently booked poorly. Also D tier. Then we get to John Cena's Intercontinental Championship. Honestly, I'm just gonna put it in C just because it's a terrible title reign, but him completing the Grand Slam, taking it off of Dom to basically just give it right back to Dom is great for Dom, great for Cena. I think it's still better than anything else that we've seen here that was a short reign. Then we have the current Kabuki Warriors with the tag team championships. I'm gonna put them in B just to like say, hey, we don't know yet. They've barely had the titles. They have a hot division with a lot of teams that going. I don't know why they had them lose to Lash and Nia Jax on that SmackDown from last week, but other than that, it's been red hot, and hopefully we get that, plenty of defenses and movement, and that could actually really make this good. Then we get to the women's intercontinental title holder, which is Maxine. She's only had one defense. Wasn't a bad match. I'm not a big fan of Maxine at the moment. I just really feel like they kind of put this as like a shot in the dark type thing. And I think there was way more people that they could have put this on to really give the title the thing it deserves. I'm going to put it in D currently, but I'm going to hopefully be surprised that it gets better. And then we go to Dom's current run. I also put it in B just because he hasn't done anything with it because it's barely had it. He's had it for like a month, but hopefully they start getting some feuds going into WrestleMania because that's where we want to see. And yeah, that's been my video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.